Morning Hustle Show, L'Oreal. We have Killer Mike in the building, aka Michael.
Absolutely. How you doing, L'Oreal? Good to be
What's
with you.
What's going on? Listen, I'm so glad to finally sit down and get a chance to talk to you because you've always been somebody that was really interesting to me. You always had something to say, something that wasn't just riffraff. You know, you speak up for our people. You will argue somebody down for whatever you believe in, and that's something that I'm like. So I respect that a lot. So let's talk about Michael.
Yeah.
Your first solo album in 11 years. Why so long? Why now?
I've been a part of a very successful rap group called Run the Jewels, me and LP out of Brooklyn. Shouts out to Brooklyn.
That's right. Let's go.
Yeah. So I had a decade to be one half of a group, and if you look at that group, like the Uncanny X-Men, you got me, LP, DJ Trackstar. You had guests like R.I.P. our girl Gangsta Boo, Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine, Josh Homme. All these people, Big Boy, 2 Chainz, pop up in this wonderful world of Run the Jewels. Well, my character, like Wolverine, has a backstory. All characters have a backstory, but Wolverine's backstory is really personal. If you read comics, you read Logan. Yeah. And I wanted to make my Logan. I was home for 3 years, for COVID. I caught COVID early, so I thought I was going to die for 14 days. And then when you come out of that, you're like, oh, wow, I got some stuff I probably need to say before I die.
Right.
And I just, I've been blessed to have a 20-year career in music. And I've never introduced people to that little 9-year-old buck-toothed boy with the horns and the halo. I never introduced them to Michael. They never got to know me. So the character Killer Mike, people are polarized around. Some people love, some people, had other opinions of. But the boy Michael that grew up in this West Side enclave called the Collier Heights, Adamsville community in Atlanta, I think a lot more people can relate to, just because it's just an all-American story of a little boy and his imagination over conquering all.
And you really open up. You talk about a lot of different things, from losing your mother, and your grandmother, which is something that I'm pretty sure has to be one of the most difficult things that somebody can go through.
The second verse of that song, when I said, my mama dead, her mama dead. Her mama died in my arms. My mom said it wasn't fair. Her mama raised me. I told her she crazy. She told me one day, I'm going to be gone, Michael. You going to see that my mama wanted you, but you belong to me. That was so true. My grandmother raised me. So my grandmother died. I was like, man, she was like my mother. She was. I called her mama. That's all I ever called her. And I called my mom, mommy, and I remember us arguing at the funeral. It was hilarious. It's like one of those Tyler Perry movie phonies where it's just like the family is beefing right before everything is resolved. And my mom said it wasn't fair that my mom died in your arms. I was like, what? I'm like, you think I would have chose to be the person she died? And my sister was like, yeah, because she loved you. She wouldn't have been happy with nobody else, which made my mother feel worse. But my mom told me that day, she said, I gave you to my mom because she couldn't have any more kids of her own and she wanted you. And you don't understand the sacrifice that took from me. And I didn't until my mother died. My mother died 6 years ago. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was just like, I was like, because she was only 16 years older than me. So we had more of a brother-sister relationship at times. Right. But I couldn't do nothing but laugh and cry at the same time. Like, damn, you were right.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to having like some regrets after a parent passes away. Because I had the same thing with my father. And now I look at like how women are treated or women are getting kind of scrutinized for like showing their sexuality. And then you have women that you respect so much in your life that's been a part of your life. Yeah. How do you feel when it's cases where people are saying, well, women are making their self-sexualized in our community nowadays, opposed to the women that you were brought up by?
I didn't say my mother trafficked cocaine. My mother had a great pair of breasts that she would show when she was doing it. So I'm not saying she did some of the things that I see now, but what I'm saying is for my grandmother's peer group, my grandmother was 44 when I was born. She didn't necessarily like the lifestyle choices. My mom was a florist by trade, but the people she was selling flowers to ended up looking for coke, and then she ended up a trafficker. Your 15th birthday, we woke up 2 weeks before I turned 15, woman arrested in Griffin, Georgia for attempting to buy 10 kilos of cocaine. And I remember she got out. She said it was 20. Them bastards stole half the money. So that was my girl. So anyone who knew Denise knew she was in it. Her life was a movie. So I don't have judgments. I've known girls that danced in the Blue Flame that have been some of the best mothers I've seen in terms of making sure their children are fed, clothed, treated rightly, have dignity and respect.
Right.
I've seen women that worked in corporations that graduated some of the best colleges in this country, you know, not be loving and caring partners of mothers. So I have no judgment.
Right.
You know, just do your best.
Right. Well, on your album, you definitely ain't have a judgment on who was new in the game versus old in the game. You have all kind of artists on there. Cash Page.
Yeah, I love her.
I was so excited to see her on there.
Dope,
what's your connection with her?
Man, she just like me. So if you look at this record, it's all these 15 records are like just vignettes into my life.
Yeah.
So usually when you hear the Dope Boy song, it's either I'm the biggest dope boy ever or somebody betrayed me, I'm trying to get them back.
Right.
Dope Boy days sometimes are just everybody pulling up in the old school and going in on a barbecue. So when I wanted to do when I felt like I had a record to talk about, you know what I'm saying, the best of Dope Boy days, I go get two of my dopest Dope Boy partners, man. I go get 2 Chainz, I go get Currency.
Of course.
Because they lead the life that all aspirational trappers want to lead.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
I kick it, I smoke, ain't too much violence. I got old schools, I got new schools. So I got them. Currency came in and killed the intro.
I was going to say, did he come in the studio and do that with you?
No, Spitter did that one in New Orleans.
Okay.
I think I was in L.A., but he got it right back to me. But when which is good, because when we end up hanging, we don't do nothing but get high and play with Hot Wheels.
Yeah, because he smoked a lot.
Yeah, like we both. Like I was born on 420. He was a few weeks before me. We both Aries.
I didn't even peep that.
Yeah,
Perfect day.
Man, all we do is get stoned and play with remote control cars and stuff. So it was best he did it like that.
Right.
But then it was like we knew we needed a singer. And man, somebody sent me Cash, and I was just like, oh man, who is she?
She's so dope.
Yeah, and it was actually Cuz. I think Cuz might have introduced me to who she was, but she was him or Will, my manager. But she was dope. And then man, I saw little sis here. I saw her at the bistro here, her the homegirl, and I bought him lunch. Like,
I know that's right.
Like you ain't never buying lunch for you with me. Like if I see you, I got your lunch.
Right.
So shouts out to sis, man. She's amazing. And my 16-year-old daughter thought I was cooler.
Yeah, I'm telling you that, but that's what's dope about you, because it's like you're in tune with all kind of things. Yeah. It's not just like you're like, all right, I'm a legend here. I done made my way in Atlanta and brought it to the world.
Artist. Yeah, I'm just an artist. I just like collaborating with dope artists.
And when I say the collabs are crazy, y'all, if y'all didn't check out this album yet, y'all need to check out Michael. Yeah. Let's talk about the cover.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of horns on there with the halo. Now let's explain that and break that down, because when you're listening, I can understand why you have that as a cover.
Well, my dad, my daughter, one of my sons have the name Michael or Michael, and that's God's mightiest angel. There's this. So you know you're named for this beautiful angel, and with that said, he's a warrior. Like he's the one that's gonna cast Satan in the fire. You know, according to Christianity in the last days. So I always liked my name, which is why I went with a very personal. But I'm very proud of the name, even beyond just my personal story, Michael. But as a kid, that's what I was. I was just mischievous. That's it. Like I had a heart of gold, and I was mischievous as can be. You know what I mean? Just like I was gonna be the kid that talked to the candy lady. My partner might have stole a couple Snicker bars, but you know I would feel bad about it, and we come help cut her grass later. You know what I'm saying? Like I've just had this mischievous streak my whole life. It's not going nowhere. You know, nowhere. But it's balanced. You know?
Right.
I'm not evil. I don't. You know, when I talked about in something, when I talked about in, you know, Down by Law, when I saw someone that I used to stand in front of the store as a kid, you know, I was just trying to get some Jordans for prom money. I sold drugs to, and I remember just apologizing, just like, man, I'm sorry, I was so young. I did not, you know, what I said, I had no vision, and I was apologizing. He stopped. He said, hey, man, you ain't got nothing to feel bad about, young blood. He said, you was a kid, and I was walking up to you asking you for drugs. He said after about 2-3 days of me doing that, common sense just told you to have some.
Yeah.
And he was right. So, you know, I balance, and I understand that human beings are capable of good and evil. So, you know, before we project everything on the outside, just understand all of us got our horns and halo.
That is a fact. We just, we kind of hide them sometimes.
Yeah, just try to get your balance right. You know?
Yeah, and you're also Puerto Rican, because Santiago is your middle name.
I told my mom, my dad's very fair-skinned with wavy hair. I told my mom, I said, you thought I was going to look like him. I don't know, just like you. So yeah, I love when I go to like Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, stuff like that, because they see my middle name on the passport and they just automatically think, "Oh, you cool." I'm just like,
I was like,
I ain't gotta go
Santiago.
through that. Yep, Michael Santiago Richard.
That definitely shocked me. You also opened up on Slumber with Jagged Edge about an abortion that a female you was dating.
Yo, I was a kid. It was we were, you're a kid. You think you're in love, and you do be in love for that time, and it's intense. But that's how I learned poverty, can be stronger than love. I loved her, to death. I thought, we was gonna be there. She was a pretty girl, and she was from the housing projects, and she didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? It was compounding poverty, and she met an older guy that loved her. They ended up getting married, having some kids and stuff, and that was really cool. But you know what I mean? She saw me years later, hugged me, introduced me to her kids. Like, this is what I was telling you about. Like, this is Mr. Mike. He's a, you know what I mean? He's
That's so crazy.
You know what I mean? So and I still got love for her to this day. You know what I mean? It's always.
Is there anybody that like maybe you had a falling out with and you becoming yourself and who you are now, right? Yeah. That maybe you might want to reach back and speak out to maybe somebody you did wrong?
Nah, I ain't did nobody wrong and that I ain't apologize to. I'm pretty good about admitting my wrongs and apologize. Just, hey, man, if you forgive me, cool. But, if I didn't have issue with you, it's cool, we on two different sides of the street, but we cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one that's bad at re-engagement. Like, if my only thing is, if we do something egregious, let's do the apology and then let's just never go back to it. Now, if you play with my name, if you try to ruin my reputation, then all is forgiven. But I can't never ever rock with you again,
right?
Because all I have is my reputation. You know what I mean? So when you try to ruin that, so there's a couple people out there, that are in the city that I wouldn't come to their funeral and I asked they not come to mine.
Yeah.
Because you tried to ruin my reputation. You tried to drag me in front of the white folks and allow me. So no, I don't have no positive thoughts for you. I don't have no negative thoughts. I just have no thoughts.
Yeah.
If I die, don't come. If you die, I won't come.
Yeah. I mean, well, that makes sense. Keep your distance from people you don't rock with.
Yeah, that's it.
So Dungeon Family, right? When it's a lot of people that work collaboratively, right? It's always a little bit of issues here and there, but it doesn't seem like that came across with you all. Was there things that we might have missed and maybe like family
everything
scuffles?
Be cool. I'm a little bro though. Just like I done gave everybody some headaches around there. Like Sleepy Brown just walk up to me and hug me some days. Like, it's okay, little bro. Quit tripping, man. I didn't been hard headed. I didn't disagree loudly. I'm from the West Side.
Right.
The Dungeon Family is a Southwest Atlanta collective, and even though Martin Luther King separated, the West Side is a little more brash. So when you think West Side, you think me, T.I., Dro. Like real kind of just like this the way it is, And with Southwest Atlanta, they got a little bit more politeness, political effectiveness. They negotiate, but there have been times where I just been a hard-headed little bro, and I just think like Rico, and I think Ray, and I think Sleep for just always remaining encouraging.
I'm glad you said him because I was looking for him on the album. I didn't see him. Sleepy Brown.
I didn't use Sleep, but Sleep, Ray, and Reek were in there. So Rico's voice serves as like the voice of Atlanta.
Okay.
Through the album, through the skits, that's Rico's voice that's popping up. That's Rico Way, the intro to the album.
At one point, I thought he was Dave Chappelle on the song with Doug.
Dave introduces Run.
That is Dave. Run. Okay, so I knew I wasn't
tripping. That's Rico though. When he said it ain't been hard. It's just been a journey. Yeah. That's Rico Way.
Okay.
And coming up through.
Okay.
But Ray Murray comes in, and Ray gives us a challenge early in making the record, man, because like he says, it has to be authentically Southern in Atlanta all the way through, and it has to be as cohesive as the Chronic. And by reviews, we've achieved that. We've achieved something that's stellarly Southern and that is utterly cohesive like the Chronic. Like one of the greatest compliments I've seen this week was Damani, Tip's son, who I think is an amazing artist.
He's dope.
Damani says, this is the only album I can listen to all the way through. Like for a youngster to say that. That's how I felt when the Chronic dropped. That's how I felt when man, NWA's second album dropped, Niggas for Life. So for me, I just thought that I met that challenge, and then Sleep just came through and encouraged at all points. So I'm proud that I gave the Dungeon Family a record that the city can be proud of, that they can be proud of, and that's a generational statement. It's something beyond a classic, in my opinion.
Yeah, your album is amazing, and I even talk about that because you kicked it off with CeeLo, and I haven't heard him in a while. He had some controversies. Was that a little bit like? Because, you know, when somebody is your family and they might have something going on that's associated in a bad light, we going to stick by them, but it kind of might give you some backlash. Was you thinking about any, because you kicked the album off with
No,
CeeLo.
I wasn't thinking. I was just thinking about using, you know, you take the album Michael is a return to a certain spirituality for me. I ran from the church. I ran from a lot of things. But, you know, when you look at, you know, and I'm still not belong to an Abrahamic religion, but when you look at like the story of Christ, the last person he chose to save was a self-confessed thief, you know, being crucified by the stake next to him. When you look at the people that ran with him, Saul, who was a Christian killer, and eventually became Paul, changed his name. You look at the people that God had chosen to exalt, whether it was Noah, who was a drunk, whether it was David, who, you know, helped kill a man just to have his wife. You know, there's been some pretty horrendous things done. And so I don't know or not to know what CeeLo has done or not done. What I know is, as my big bro, he's one of the first people to love and embrace me. And God has truly given him an anointed voice. And I needed to say something to Atlanta on the behalf of Atlanta. So what better voice to use? You know what I mean? So I didn't think about anything outside of that, you know what I mean? Because whatever he, you know, is responsible for in the last days when God has judgment on us all, you know, he'll answer to or not answer to whatever he's done, you know, whatever he hasn't done, whatever those things were. I don't think about it. I just thought about what would be best for this song
for the album
in Atlanta. Yeah, because Lord knows, but I done did some times and crimes in my days.
Yeah.
I've been forgiven and given grace for a lot. So, you know, I just appreciate that brother giving me grace and jumping on the record because he brought it to life. And shouts out to Corey Mo for thinking that, hey, man, y'all boys should do this record together, because Corey held that record. I had that record down by law since the last year of Obama's presidency. And Corey held that record for me that long. So shouts out to Corey Mo, and thank you, man.
That's fire. Okay. You almost missed one of these songs on here.
What?
And that's because Andre 3000 wasn't really rocking with the verse initially. But
No,
when
that
I heard,
wasn't. No, that wasn't.
no.
That wasn't it. He was rocking with all of it, but it felt, this record, this album was an excellent mixtape that we took into a great album. And if it was just going to be verses, he was just like, you know, man, we just got a great rap song.
Yeah.
But putting that hook, that I'm going to live forever hook, you know, the Aaron Allen Kane, just giving that sentiment made it a song. See, a lot of times you can have a good record and it still not be a song.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what made it. So, no, it was there. You know, it was
I'm glad you explained that, because when the verse came on, my face was like, whoa!
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Old saying from the trap, man, you got to bring the dope out the water.
Yeah.
You know, you'll put a half a thing in there, man. It's just looking like a quarter, but you bring in a cook, you can bring the dope out the water. So that's what we had to do.
Yeah. Okay, so what about Netflix? Are you returning there? Because you had that show on Netflix.
Yeah, trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to return to Netflix in some capacity doing TV. I like television. I like writing television. I like being a part of television shows. Trigger warning, you know, came when it had its time. I'd love to do another variation somewhere. You got to pay me some white folks money, though.
Yeah, that's a fact, because you went through some stuff. You was sleeping on benches. I was like, fuck, I was trying to find you out there.
But I had a ball. And Netflix is a company, man. Shouts out to them for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah.
And FX, because FX gave us the opportunity first and then allowed us to pivot it over to Netflix.
That's fire. So you're on tour right now.
And I have a TV show now.
You have a TV show now
called Love and Respect that comes on public broadcasting. I just won an Emmy for the television show with my interview with Bernice King. So I just won an Emmy. There's a lot of satisfaction in that. A guy named Scott Harder who co-founded Real Time with Bill Maher and he and Politically Incorrect. This was his first Emmy. He's a 70-year-old OG. He's a white guy. He's been in television for 40, 50 years. I love him to death, and we were born on the same day. He's one of my better friends. Yep, 420. And my man, I brought him his first Emmy, and that meant the world to me.
Wow, it should mean the world that you got your Emmy.
I mean, I care about me, but I'm just saying when an OG, man, it's like, think about it, it's an OG.
That's a fact.
And he's like, man, I got my first one with you. I assumed he just had him in his closet laying around.
Yeah.
So now I got a Emmy and a Grammy. Now I got to get the Tony and an Oscar.
I know that's right. And we can see, would you do Tiny Desk?
Yeah, I've done one that's Run the Jewels, and I'm coming back to do one.
I mean, with your solo,
we're going to do it.
Okay, I can't wait to see that. The tour is going on right now. They can check you
High
out.
and Holy Tabernacle tonight. Come check me out. Let's make sure the church is full, man.
Yeah, I'm high and holy right now.
Let's get it.
Big shout out to you, a classic album. Everyone's saying it.
Generational statement, man. This is a statement for a generation, y'all. Absolutely.
Okay, now go check it out. Y'all can get it wherever you can find it. Michael out now.
Thank
go
you
catch
so
him
much.
on tour. Killer Mike.
I appreciate you, love.
We are the Morning Hustle.